The day I found out I was going to be a dad. What's going on, guys? Just want to make a quick video here. So just wanted to tell you about the day I found out I was going to be a dad. So December 16th, 2017, we were getting ready for victory block leave from the Army. So we had finished, I think, a couple days prior, and we were just waiting to leave. We finished our last culminating event for basic training. Um, so it was the last couple days before we came home. Um, so it's always a day and a wake up is until we leave. So we wake up on, I believe it was a Sunday, and we get all of our stuff packed. We're ready to go. And in the Army, you always do things way before you're supposed to, that you need to. So we were ready to go the day before. So we all get together, we get in a room, and they started figuring out when we're going to take our buses to the airport, which is like a huge cluster F to move everybody off base to the airport to get them where they need to be so they can go home. So I find out when I'm eventually going to leave. We march up to where the buses are going to take us to the airport. So we get to the airport, and it's probably about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I get the news that the airport was in Atlanta, Georgia, had closed due to a power outage. This airport is like the one airport that never closes because it's like one of the busiest airports in the United States. So when we get to the airport in Columbia, I found out that my flight from Columbia to Atlanta had been canceled, and there was going to be no more flights the rest of the day. So I'm talking to the ticket agent, and I'm like, what do I need to do to get home today? Um, so they did some MacGyvering, and they found out there was there was no more flights going from Columbia to Atlanta, but there was a flight going from Charlotte, North Carolina to Atlanta. So I was like, well, I would love to do that. And luckily, being the holidays and being in the uniform and being in the Army, Delta was lucky enough to comp a cab to the closest airport, which was Charlotte, North Carolina. So get a taxi, go from Columbia, South Carolina to Charlotte, North Carolina, to then go there, get on a plane, and go to Atlanta. It was pretty awesome getting to Atlanta, though. They treat their people in uniform very well. They had like Bojangles ready for us and some. Um, the USO had some gift things for us. So if I get there, I knew I was getting home. So I'll back up a little bit. My original goal was when I came home for victory block leave was to get married. That was the goal, was to marry my fiance that I engaged prior to when we had our first when we had our miscarriage. I proposed to her and wanted to do things the right way and get married and do all that and have the family I always wanted. So my goal was to come home and get married. So that was my goal in mind, was I just want to get home. I want to see my family. I want to be with my fiance. Um, so get to the airport, get on a plane from Charlotte, fly down to Atlanta, Georgia, which is backtracking. So I get on the plane in Georgia to come home in New York. So I'm going from South Carolina to North Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia, to go up to New York. And so I finally get on the plane, and then I land. I'm like, I need to go brush my teeth and shave before I'm seen, because my facial hair grows pretty fast, and I've already been out for about 42 hours at this time. So I go in the bathroom real quick, shave, brush my teeth, put on some deodorant, make sure I'm fresh. So I come out, go out the terminal. It's kind of like you see in the movies where like they have the sign and like they're welcoming you home. My best friend's there, and then my fiance's there, my mom, my dad, um, and it was really awesome. It was everything I hoped for. So they're like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I want to eat." So we go out to a burger place, and my fiance's not eating, and I'm like, "Well, that's weird." I was like, "We're eating all the things she normally would eat." Um, so I get home, go to my parents, and then I go back to my fiance's apartment, and she has a little gift bag for me, and I take it out, and there's a little Captain America ornament, and I'm like, well, this is cute. And then I take out a picture frame, and it's an ultrasound, and it shows the ultrasound of my son, and it says baby Calcagno. And I was really confused, because if you watch my other video, like, the one thing I wanted before I left for basic training was we had gotten pregnant, and I just wanted to hear an ultrasound. I wanted to hear his heartbeat before, or her heartbeat before I left, and that didn't happen, and we lost in the first trimester. So I was still pretty shaken up from that, and I get home and I see this ultrasound picture, and I was so confused. Like, and she's like, "You don't look happy." And I'm like, it took me a moment to process what was happening and like put all the timelines together. And I was when I finally realized what I was doing, it was like the most exciting moment of my entire life. Like uh, all the pain I had from losing the baby or losing the having the miscarriage and dealing with the grief and pain from that loss and of like hopes and dreams, and then like to have this ultrasound picture of my child, like it was the most beautiful thing. It was the most exciting moment of my life. Like I'd never been that happy in my life. um so uh I originally went home to get married, and instead of getting married, I found out I was going to be a dad, and it was the most exciting moment I could have anticipated. Um, so now, like when I look back, I'm like, nobody's ever gonna be able to give me a better Christmas present than that. Like that's the top of the list. You could buy me a car and it still wouldn't be as good as finding out I was gonna be a dad. So um, that was the second best day of my life. Obviously, the first best was the day my son was born. But I just want to share that story with you guys. I thought it was a pretty cool story. Uh, it was almost like something you saw in a movie, but it happened in real life. So that's the day I became a dad. I would love to hear how you guys found out. If it was more than just a pregnancy test, or if there was some kind of cool story associated with it. I would love to hear. So thank you for watching, guys. I appreciate it. If you like this, please like, share, subscribe, and may God bless you and your families.